All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and fellow fishing accomplices, good morning and welcome back to fishing. So we are getting into mid-July right now, and I'm hoping to shoot a successful kayak fishing session. Honestly, any day I get on the kayak is successful at some level, but the last couple times I've tried to go haven't been that great. I was fishing the North Shore and it's been tough, for me at least. But anyways, yeah, we're gonna hit the South Shore today and hopefully get into some Fluke. The last couple times I've gone for Fluke have been pretty tough, but I'm hoping this will be an exception and maybe the turning of a quarter, though I'm not holding my breath on that. But we're gonna do what we usually do and try and make it happen. So do stay tuned, because you know what we're about to do. Get some fishing accomplished. We are back. Tide is ripping in right now. It is a full moon. I was thinking of potentially checking out some new areas, but with the way the tides are, it'd just be so much work, because the tide's going to peak in like 2 hours and then it's going to start going out. So I'd be working against the tide both ways, so that's going to have to wait for another day. But I haven't fished this area in a while, so this water should be cooler than a lot of the stuff I have been fishing. Let's see if there's still some Fluke around. They were here a couple weeks ago, which felt like an eternity ago. Let's see if they're still around. All right, we're rolling up on the first spot. I'm gonna try this 3/4 ounce Spro bucktail, pink and white. It's almost a jig head at this point, which is part of the reason I'm using it. I don't want too much resistance going down. I suspect it's gonna be a little too light, but I like to start light and work my way up if I have to, because typically that lighter single bucktail or single jig presentation is the way to go, in my opinion, if you want to find some better size fish. If this is too light, we'll just upgrade to a 1 ounce and then through that a 1.5 ounce. Tide is at like peak movement right now. Definitely going to be some Fluke here. I imagine there's going to be a lot of porgies too, but we will find out soon. Okay, first drop. Get out there a little. It's not super deep here, so that's why I might be able to get away with less weight, but I'm not super optimistic. Already getting bit. Probably porgies. I'll keep porgies today if they're big enough. And by big enough, I don't mean legally big enough. I mean like not a pain in the butt to clean. That was a bite. I feel like it's already munched my gulp. Now, try again. That's a Fluke. Feels like a nice Fluke too. Yeah, he's losing weight, but it's not terrible. It's reassuring. We'll dip the net. I don't think he's big enough, but he might be. He is, barely. I doubt it, but maybe. Probably like 17.5. Well, just broke this thing off the line, but whatever. I don't think so. Yeah, almost 17.5. Just a little over 17. Good sign though, it didn't take long to get them. Well, as we suspected, there's definitely some Fluke around, and that wasn't a terrible first fish. You know, just a little over an inch shy of a keeper. Good tide right now. Let's see if we can upgrade, but fingers crossed that wasn't like a second drift curse and all of a sudden we're gonna get nothing, but I don't think that's gonna happen. There's definitely a lot of life around. Let's try again. We just let go of that Fluke. We reset our drift to go right back to where we got that fish, more or less. Surprisingly enough, I saw something very, very, very large jump, like probably like a half mile away from where I am right now. And I honestly think, for as far out as that thing was, the only thing it could have been that I would have seen, it was probably a fairly large shark. Maybe a thresher, I don't know. But yeah, we are right on the ocean right now, so anything could seemingly be here right now. But I don't really have too many concerns. I don't think they're gonna mess with me too much. Could be wrong, but just try not to worry too much about stuff like that. It up. We're gonna put that grub away and try the gulp paddle shad. I've done well with these in this spot before. This is a 6-inch, I believe, or 5-inch. Whatever the slightly larger size is, I'll link it in the description if it works, if you're even watching this. But I've had so many misses with that grub. Maybe it needs to charge, and let's see how this profile works. There he is. That's a fluke. That's a fluke. Could be a good one too. Could be a shower mat. Fluke on the paddle shad. Doubt he's hooked super well. Ah, he's a baby. Oh, tail's gone too. Let's put him back. Short fluke, which is a good sign that there's fluke that are willing to bite. I'm gonna try a slightly smaller paddle shad just because a lot of these fish are porgies and they're very aggressive. At least I assume they're porgies. They should have a much easier time taking this 4-inch paddle shad than the 5-inch. So let's go over that again, see if we can get another fluke, porgies, whatever. Okay, let's see what we can do with the slightly smaller presentation paddle shad, 4-inch. See if we still get as much attention from the porgies and non-fluke, but also the fluke. If not, we'll happily go back to either a grub or a larger paddle shad. We'll see how we feel. Here he is. Oh, that's a better fluke. That, I think, might be a shower mat. Unless it's just all tied. It's lightening up, but much better head shakes than the last one. No. But yeah, better. See you, buddy. All right, tide is definitely starting to slow down a bit. We still got some incoming movement, but I'd say in the next half hour or so, it's gonna pretty much die out. Just got a fluke in the last drift. I don't know if the footage came out because had some issues with the camera, but it was a short, so it doesn't really matter. Bigger short though, like a 17-incher probably. So we're doing something right, but still not quite meeting the threshold. But they are definitely around, and we've got a good pattern locked in. But that will probably change when the tide changes. Fortunately, there's not too much wind today, so it shouldn't be too messy. Ooh, that's a nice fluke. I think that's a nice fluke. Yeah, that one on that. That's gonna be close. He might make it. I don't think it's a 2021 keeper, but it might be a 2022. Just spit the hook. I don't think so. Close, but I doubt it. It's probably another 17.5. Can't tell, it's been such a while since we got a real keeper. What'd I say? This one's 17.5. Might downsize my weight now that the tide's slowing down. Might go to a half and then eventually a quarter until tide starts moving out. There we go. Another fluke. Little one. At least we're getting them. The tide's slowing down. I'm switching to a 1/2-ounce jig head, and now we're back to a grub. See what we can do, because I don't think we need a full 3/4 ounce to hold bottom. We might even be able to get away with a 1/4 ounce, but let's see how this goes. Tide is slowly making its way to peak slack, but we still got some movement, so let's make use of it. There we go. That might be a good fluke. It's a fluke for sure. And we don't have much tide, so he feels good. This might actually be a nice fish. Doesn't feel huge, but losing weight. No, definitely not. You shrank pretty quick, buddy. When you're right on top of them, you're just pulling like their body right against the water. They tend to feel a lot bigger. Well, the forecast today is supposed to get pretty darn hot, above the 90s, so got to stay hydrated. And I can think of no better way to stay hydrated, of course, than a little seltzer break. So today we have Schweppes, going old school, and the flavor is Concord Grape. This is one of those instances where the aroma perfectly matches the taste. If I had to describe this to you, just imagine grape soda minus the sugar. If that sounds like your jam, then this is where you want to go. If you want to see fishing, this channel is where you want to go. So please, while you're here, hit that like button and consider subscribing if you haven't done so already. Thank you if you have subscribed. And hopefully we're going to get on some more action. We're going to switch to a jerk shad type bait. Quarter ounce jig head. The tide is pretty much slack high right now. So we're going to see if we can mix things up a little bit while we don't have much movement. Outgoing shouldn't take too long, probably within the hour, and then hopefully we'll be on more of a fluke bite. See what we can do. Station was a little crooked, but I fixed it. Let's get it out. We're going to cast quarter ounce with whatever tide is still moving in and work it back to the boat and see if this can avoid some of those porgies and potentially connect with some fluke. Definitely a fluke. They do like these jerk shads. Jeez, not my seltzer. Show some dignity. Tide is definitely starting to pick up. It might be time to switch back to vertical jigging pretty soon. Wind is picking up a little too, so we're moving pretty fast. It's making this jerk shad presentation a little bit less efficient, a little bit more energy consuming, which you don't want to do on a hot day. Plus the bite's just not what it was like 10 minutes ago with this presentation. Okay, tide is rushing out now, so we're not going to mess around with casting the jerk shad. We're just going to straight up jig, and right now we have an ounce on it. Even that might be inadequate. We might need to go full ounce and a half, and even that might not be enough, but it's certainly better than quarter until things slow down a little. So we're going to do a longer drift right now, try some other areas, see if we got more fish holding in other parts. It's worth a shot. There we go. That's a nice start in this spot. Felt good for a sec, but not anymore. And that's why. All right, cool. Let's restart that. At least it's the right kind of fish. Ugh, come on. Come on. Simmer down now. Everyone wants to hit that seltzer can. Let's reset that. Ooh. Hello. That's a fluke for sure. Is it a shower mat though? I think it is. And no. He was a shower, not a grower. We'll let him get off, but that was a good sign. Back down. Yeah, knew there should be some fish here. Doesn't feel great, but it's a fluke. It's not a terrible fish. Better than the last few we got. Easy, 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 easy. Don't worry, you'll get it. There you go. There we go. Yes, yes. That feels like the best of the day, maybe. As long as it's not foul hooked. It's on another level of what we've been getting all day. Feels like a shower mat, folks. Feels like a shower mat. Yeah, we'll dip the net for you. It's gonna be close though. I think yes. All right, let's go. Be close, but I think so. You're not stealing my gulp. Don't try this at home, kids. Thank you. Yeah. Man, I am just not. It's almost 18 inches. Dang. Oh. You wanna flop or you wanna go home? All right, that last fluke was the close of the day, just a hair under 18. I just don't have the eye for it like I used to, you know, or the feel. Definitely fighting a lot of current when you fight fish here, so they definitely feel a little bigger than they would otherwise, but I thought that one had 18.5, but apparently not. But that's the fun of it. But if there's an 18-incher down there, I can't see why there wouldn't be an 18.5-incher, so let's at least do 1 or 2 more drifts, and I'll give it no more than 15 minutes unless things just get out of control good or bad. If it's bad, I won't even make it 15 minutes. But we made it this far. It really helps if you have a good sense of how much weight your lure does have, because when you just get a tiny piece of seaweed like that, it might not feel like much to you, but it could ruin the whole drift, so it's definitely good to know. Again, this is my last paddle shad, so I'd usually probably toss this, but I can't be picky right now. Get a little bit more life out of it. Got some smaller ones, but this is the better size, in my opinion. Fish are stacked here. It doesn't feel terrible, but I doubt it's a keeper. Might be. It still feels good. It's like another 16. Ah, there's no way. Might be, actually. Jeez. Watch this be the keeper. Doubt it. It's probably the same fish. No, it's 17. Not a huge one, but much better than what we were getting earlier today. Maybe I should have been here all day. Whatever, what's done is done. Can't do wrong with the jerk shad. If you know there's fish around. Don't destroy it, please. Okay, that's gonna be a wrap for today's session. Definitely a numbers day. I mean, we got a lot of fish today, probably at least 2 or 3 dozen fluke. Probably not even gonna have you watch most of this because it would just be way too redundant. But the problem obviously was none of them were over 18.5 inches. I mean, the biggest one was just a hair under 18, so a lot of quantity, but not a lot of quality. Got those porgies too, a few sea robins, so it was a fun time. I mean, this time of year, I'm happy just to catch anything and to have I mean, it was constant action all day. I think the big winning presentation there was the paddle shad, 5-inch, the gulp. Paired with like a 1/2 or 1/4 ounce jig head, that did a lot of work on those fish. And I think the fluke really gravitate towards that. I think you got a better shot of striped bass with those. And I don't think the sea robins love them quite as much as well. Same thing with the porgies. The only downside is I don't think they're quite as durable, but paddle shad did some work. Did a fair amount of work too with the jerk shad when the tide pretty much died out. But overall, again, none of it mattered for, you know, bringing anything home. So overall, I had fun though, so I'm happy I did it despite the heat. I hope you enjoyed. Hope it wasn't too boring or redundant. Thank you for watching as always. Please, if you could, hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't done so already. That would be so helpful to me. But if you don't want to, that's fine. If you have subscribed, thank you as always for staying with it. That being said, I can't even talk. More stuff to come soon, so do stay tuned. Catch you later, and goodbye from fishing.